Ever come across a piece of art that just uh, makes you stop? Where something feels familiar but then bumps right up against something really strange.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of recognition mixed with mystery.
Well, that's exactly the kind of space we're exploring today.
Mm.
We've got a lot of interest in this one piece, Big Al's journey through fire and reflection.
Yeah, it's a fantastic piece for this kind of deep dive, something that clearly sparked curiosity, and our goal is really to unpack it quickly.
Right, give you that shortcut to understanding, those aha moments. And we've got a great mix of sources to draw on.
We do. There's analysis from a YouTube video
Direct quotes from the artist Bob Camblin himself, which is always great. A biography, too.
and excerpts from a book connecting his art specifically to Zen and the I Ching, plus a review and forward for extra context.
It's a really rich set of materials.
So the mission today, take all these different angles, focus them on Big Al, and help everyone get past just the surface look.
Yeah, dig into the ideas, the art references, and maybe get a little glimpse into Camblin's unique mind.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first off, let's just try to picture the artwork. Big Al's journey through fire and reflection. It immediately hits you with this blend of like the earthly and the celestial.
Right, that contrast is there from the start.
And you have this central figure, Big Al. The descriptions say his gaze isn't just looking, it's seeing beyond the ordinary.
That suggests a real depth, doesn't it? Not just observation, but perception, maybe insight.
Sets the stage, I think. It hints that this is more than just a picture, it's about a journey of understanding.
Definitely. And that fiery background.
Wow. Yeah, it's not just wallpaper. It feels like it represents both destruction and elimination.
Like something has to burn away for clarity to emerge. That's a powerful idea.
We'll probably see that pop up again. And then this detail right on top of Big Al's head, there's this LOL-like form.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. It's unexpected.
And the sources suggest it symbolizes enlightenment. It's almost playful amid all that intensity.
It is. It keeps it from being maybe too self-serious. Like, enlightenment isn't always this grim, heavy thing.
Okay, so now this is where those Eastern philosophy connections start really clicking into place.
Right. The sources bring in Zen quite strongly.
Yeah, the Zen idea that knowing yourself is true wisdom, they tie that directly to Big Al's gaze.
So the artwork itself becomes a kind of prompt for introspection. Look at Big Al, but then look inward.
Exactly. It's like understanding the image requires the same kind of deep dive you'd need to understand yourself.
It's fascinating how a visual piece can embody a philosophical principle like that. That inward-outward gaze thing really captures it.
Then there's the I Ching, the Book of Changes, that fire in the background. It gets linked to hexagram 30.
Which is Li, the clinging or fire.
And the interpretation is that clarity, like we said, often comes through change, through letting go, burning away attachments.
Which fits perfectly. The I Ching itself, it's all about these cycles, isn't it? Understanding the flow of things. Hexagram 30 points to that inner light needed to navigate the changes.
And then Taoism comes in too.
The idea of the universe just unfolding naturally.
Yeah, relating that to the textures and colors in the painting, how they interplay. The flames themselves are seen as like the Tao's dynamic flow in action.
It's about embracing that constant movement, that transformation, not fighting it. The artwork visually kind of buzzes with that energy.
Right. And one last bit on the philosophy, those numbers at the top. Described as enigmatic and seemingly random.
Yeah, what's the connection there?
They're linked to the Tao again, but in its sort of immeasurable infinite aspect,
Yeah.
guiding things subtly, illuminating without being, a blinding spotlight.
So maybe they're not meant to be decoded like a math problem.
Maybe more about evoking that sense of mystery, something vast operating just beyond our full grasp.
Could be. It definitely adds another layer of intrigue.
Okay, moving into the themes that emerge from all this. Transformation and impermanence are huge.
Clearly. Big Al coming out of that fire.
Exactly. It's seen as representing finding harmony within the chaos, within the natural rhythm of life.
Resilience, maybe? Finding balance even when things are intense? That emergence suggests growth through the fire.
And it connects back to the Tao's nature, described as unyielding yet yielding.
That paradox, again, like fire itself, it consumes, but it also refines, purifies, allows for new things.
Right. Understanding fire not just as destruction, but as transformation. That duality is central.
And it reminds us that strength isn't always about being rigid. Sometimes adapting, yielding, that's the real power.
And this all loops back to us, right?
Yeah.
To the human experience, facing the fact that things change, that forms are temporary.
but that there's maybe an enduring essence underneath it all.
That's the idea. Big Al's journey towards enlightenment mirrors our own potential journey of confronting impermanence to find something deeper.
So accepting change isn't just abstract philosophy, it's part of growth. Finding that inner calm amidst the storm, like Big Al seems to do.
Okay, let's shift a bit. How does the art world, art history, look at this piece?
Well, that book, Zen and the Art of Enlightenment, seems key here. It takes this really interesting approach.
Yeah, it doesn't just pigeonhole the art. It blends philosophy, culture, art history.
It treats the artwork as a conversation, right? A conversation with art history, with philosophical traditions. It's interdisciplinary.
Definitely. Now, style-wise, they mention expressionism. Those fiery colors, the brushwork.
Comparisons to Van Gogh, Munch artists known for conveying raw emotion.
But importantly, they also say Big Al is more introspective, more surreal than that.
Right. It has that intensity, but the focus feels more internal. It's not just shouting emotion. It's exploring an inner landscape.
A different kind of intensity. More about plumbing the depths.
Exactly. And the mix of symbols connects it to visionary art and late symbolism.
So artists trying to depict mystical stuff, dreams, things beyond the everyday visible world.
Camblin seems to fit in that lineage, trying to tap into something deeper, maybe unseen,
And those numbers again. From an art history angle, they could link to conceptual art.
where the idea, the concept is paramount. So the numbers aren't just decoration, they might carry meaning, maybe related to numerology or metaphysics.
It adds that intellectual layer, doesn't it?
Mhm.
It asks you to engage beyond just how it looks.
To potentially decipher or at least consider the meaning behind those abstract bits.
And ultimately, that book interprets Big Al as get this, a visual koan.
Okay, like a Zen koan, those paradoxical riddles.
Exactly. But visual. An image designed to kind of short-circuit your logical thinking, provoke self-transcendence, make you confront impermanence.
So looking at it becomes an active process, like meditation. It's meant to shake up your usual ways of seeing.
It's not about finding the answer, maybe, but about the questioning itself.
Fascinating. Which really leads us to the artist himself. We need to understand Bob Camblin.
Yeah, he sounds like quite the figure, described as widely recognized yet enigmatic.
That combination always grabs you. Respected by peers, sought after by collectors.
But also controversial, iconoclastic, and the fact that his work is scarce adds to that mystique.
Suggests he wasn't just churning stuff out for the market, more driven by his own vision.
We know some basics. Born Oklahoma, 1928. Good art education, Kansas City Art Institute. Then a Fulbright to Italy.
That Italian experience surrounded by centuries of art must have been huge for him.
You'd think so. He also taught at several respected institutions, so he had that academic grounding.
But then, the big shift.
Right. 1976. He gives up that conventional path, embraces this nomadic life totally dedicated to art.
That's a major commitment. Prioritizing the art above everything, really, speaks volumes about his drive.
And he traveled a lot during that time, apparently produced a huge amount of work.
Though the book we mentioned focuses on earlier stuff, right? 1950s to mid-70s.
Yeah, his more personal drawings and musings, things not originally meant to be seen, like peeking into his private sketchbook.
Gives you that raw insight into his process, his developing ideas.
And the sources really stress that his art often works beyond typical criticism. It speaks directly to the viewer's soul, supposedly.
Evokes feeling, thought, without needing an instruction manual.
Which fits perfectly with that visual Kuian idea we were just talking about. It's about the direct experience.
Bypassing the gatekeepers, maybe?
Yeah. And we learn a bit about his artistic evolution from abstract impressionism to this style called muchas volantes.
Flying flies. What's
Uh-huh.
that about?
Apparently, it refers to those little floaters you see in your vision sometimes. It creates this shimmering, maybe dreamlike quality. Could be a metaphor for how fleeting reality felt to him.
Interesting. And he collaborated with others.
Yes, and significantly. Often signed his work just anonymous.
Downplaying the ego, putting the focus squarely on the art itself. That resonates with the Eastern ideas, too.
Definitely. Now, connecting this back specifically to Big Al, we get quotes from people who knew Camblin.
What did they say?
They paint a picture of someone with a really unique perspective, always questioning things, loved collaboration, very much a free spirit.
So the art comes from a life lived on its own terms. That makes sense.
And his interests really underscore that Ralph Waldo Emerson, the I Ching again, haiku poetry.
Simple forms, but profound observations. It points to a mind attuned to subtlety, intuition, the everyday.
Intellectually curious, but also grounded.
And Italy comes up again, the Uffizi Gallery, sure, but also the Capuchin catacombs.
Yeah. Apparently those experiences influenced his abstract figures, which he called mummies.
Wow, that's a striking term. So high art and something more primal, macabre even. What a mix.
It helps explain some of the unique forms in his work, maybe.
Hmm.
And even local stuff from his Oklahoma upbringing, the Grand Marland Estate, the pioneer woman statue.
Symbols of ambition, resilience. You can see how those might seep into an artist's vision, even subtly.
It all contributes to the unique visual language.
And what about his relationship with the art world? The art game, as he called it.
Seems it was complex.
Hmm.
He really wanted viewers to have their own direct connection with the work without interference.
No critics, no lengthy interpretations getting in the way.
That seems to be the idea, just a belief in good work and faith in the connection it could make.
It sounds like he was wary of the whole system, maybe. More interested in genuine engagement than hype.
Probably. Oh, and interestingly, he used scarecrows in other works.
Scarecrows as symbols of.
Renewal and metamorphosis,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
connects right back to the fire and transformation themes in Big Al.
Ah, okay. The shedding of old forms, embracing the new, change, the cycle of life and death. Potent symbol.
And finally, the sources mention the cryptic nature of his drawings generally, how he'd include text that might be informative or might be a disguise.
Embedding puzzles in the art.
Yeah, like he was inviting the viewer to participate, to question, to maybe discover something about themselves in the process.
Actively engaging the viewer, not just letting them passively look. Challenging expectations about reality.
Evoking these otherworldly imaginative realities.
Okay, so pulling this all together as we wrap up, Big Al's journey through fire and reflection is clearly way more than meets the eye.
Oh, absolutely. It's this incredibly dense weed, isn't it? Philosophical threads from Zen, the I Ching,
Woven together with Western art history, expressionism, symbolism.
and all filtered through the really unique life and mind of Bob Camblin.
Exactly. It's a piece that really pushes you to think about these huge, timeless themes, impermanence, transformation, self-awareness.
But it does it through Camblin's very specific, individual, maybe even eccentric perspective.
And knowing about him, his nomadic life, his views on the art game, his influences, it just adds so much depth to looking at the work.
It really does. The artist and the art feel inseparable here.
Adds layers and layers of meaning.
So a final thought for everyone listening, maybe think about your own inner fire. You know, those intense experiences, the challenges, could they be sources not just of difficulty, but maybe also illumination, clarity?
Like the fire in the painting,
Yeah,
both destruction and creation.
right. And maybe taking a cue from Camblin, how could we try to approach the world with more of that just seeing?
Looking past the surface.
Yeah, looking for those deeper enigmas, those potential revelations hidden in plain sight. What are the personal Big Al moments reflected back at you when you encounter art, or even just life?
That's a powerful question to leave people with. Thinking about our own lives as that mix of fire and reflection, always changing, always potentially revealing something new.